I'm back with another review today, and this time it's The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. Now, if you know anything about David Mitchell's work, you'll know that he writes some strange stuff. This is the third of his books that I've read. I read Black Swan Green back when I was in high school, and I also have read Cloud Atlas. If you read Cloud Atlas and didn't like it, then I wouldn't go near this one. But if you did like Cloud Atlas, then you're in for a treat. In fact, if you've read and enjoyed any of David Mitchell's works, then you'll probably really enjoy this one too. There are quite a few characters in this that appear in other of his works, and some references too that you'll get if you've read, for instance, Cloud Atlas. There's also a character from Black Swan Green. David Mitchell likes to play with this idea of reincarnation, so not all of these characters are in the same form as they were in the previous novels, but it is suggested that they are the same souls. This novel spans many decades, and it begins in the 1980s with the protagonist Holly Sykes in her teenage years, and it ends in our future in the latter years of her life. My expectations and hopes going into this were high, and I was expecting that there would be some magical realism, as is often the case in David Mitchell's work. And I guess I was also expecting maybe some different prose styles, because that's something he plays around with quite a lot. Now, there were some different prose styles, but it was a lot more subtle than in Cloud Atlas. The magical realism elements in this were more pronounced than in Cloud Atlas, but I can't speak for his other works. As in Cloud Atlas, we have this theme of reincarnation threaded throughout the book, and really Holly Sykes is this anchor in the centre of the narrative. Now, that's not to say that she's always in the centre of the action. In fact, many parts of this book are narrated from other points of view, and she's kind of on the periphery. Their stories all thread together and make sense in the final part. Now, even if you don't like magical realism, there are still elements of this book that you might really enjoy. I would say that 90% of it is realism. You've got these different stories that are very indicative of the time that they're set in. For instance, in the 80s, we have references to music, and I don't know if it was just my imagination, but the whole setting of that part really had this grungy feel to it. In the part set in the early 21st century, there are lots of events that are referenced to that you will surely recognise. One of the characters is a war correspondent in the Middle East. Another section is from the point of view of a really stuck-up and irritating novelist. He's a very unlikable character at the beginning, but I felt myself warming to him as that section progressed. So this quite stuck-up novelist is talking about nominations for the Britain Prize, which is quite obviously the Man Booker Prize. And I think it was interesting because this book was longlisted for the Man Booker Prize this year, and in this book he makes reference to this year's winner, The Narrow Road to the Deep North, and about the film adaptation of that, so it felt a little bit prophetic in that way. I don't feel like I've explained this all very clearly, but it's a very complex book, and I really can't do justice to it in a short review. Because this book is so diverse, I feel like you could almost say there's something in there for everybody. Although that said, it is a giant, so you know, if you're not happy to wade through the stuff that you're not interested in, then you're probably not going to read this just for the stuff that you are. So anyway, this book is epic in every sense of the word. It might keep you going for a wee while, but that said, the plot is so gripping that you might not be able to put it down. So if you like long and complex stories with all these different elements that tie together finally when you get to the end, then I would recommend this for you. If you don't like magical realism, then you might find parts of this irritating. Anyway, this has definitely encouraged me to go back and read some of David Mitchell's other novels. That's all from me for now. Thank you once again for watching, and yeah, I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!